going, guys? Ryan here, and today we're going to be working on the laundry room renovation, and more specifically, we're going to be doing the self-leveler and the flooring. Now, last night I got everything done underneath the house that I need to do with the thermostat wire, and I got a new thermostat installed. If you haven't watched last episode, that is what we did, and if you want to watch that, go ahead. But today we're going to start the process on getting the self-leveler down, and I'm hoping to actually get the self-leveler down so it can start drying, and then I can potentially start doing the flooring tomorrow. Now, if you don't really remember, next week is the first full week of August, and I have a lot that needs to be done in order to get this room done. Ellie's going to be gone for the whole week, and I want to get it done because one of the biggest things is the water heater and actually the water supply lines. I need to get all the drywall on this wall, and I need to get it textured and painted, and I can't do it with all the stuff here. So when I do all the drywall and all the texture and the painting, this is all going to be disconnected, and so we would both have to deal with no water at all. Now, I have a couple solutions to dealing with that myself, but and I'm fine with that. I also have people that I can go to their house and take a shower or to brush my teeth and get ready for bed, stuff like that. But I also will have some extra water. I have a couple gallons of distilled water, and I also have some pitchers I'm going to fill up with water. So I am not going to be parched, and I'm also not going to let my dog be parched either. With all that being said, the first step I have to do today, right now, is this piece right here has been just literally dry fitted in place. And you can tell that because all the other panels, when you're walking, they don't squeak, they don't make noise. But this one does all the time. And that's because it's just in place. It's not screwed down, nailed down, glued down, nothing. And that's what I need to do right now. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to clean all the area that I need to clean, like vacuum it. And then I'm going to put some liquid nails down, put the piece down, and nail it down into place. And then that'll be that. I'll be done with the crawl space and this piece. And it shouldn't ever squeak anymore. But also, this room is quite messy because of the job I just got done doing. And I need to actually get everything out of here so I can prep the surface, I can get the self-leveler down, and I can let it dry for several hours before I put back the water heater. The water heater is not really a big issue for me. I'm fine with having cold water, but if we're going to take showers, which I probably will tonight, I need to have hot water. So with all that being said, I need to get started on this. It's already like 9:30-ish, and I need to get this the self-leveler down at least around noon, no later than 2 o'clock, because that'll give more than enough time for it to dry so I can put this back in, and then a lot of time for it to dry completely before I can put the flooring in, because you need at least 16 hours before you can put the flooring on. And so I just want to make sure this is completely dry because it's going to be a large surface, and I don't really know how long it's really going to take, but I need to get this done ASAP. Okay, I got the whole room cleared out. Now I just have the washer dryer, some of the soap and stuff, and then I have the vacuum, the dolly over here, the hand truck. I'm going to drain the water heater, and then while it's draining, I'm going to take a break, and then I'm just gonna let it drain and probably drain for a little while, and then I'm gonna come in here and vacuum everything, and then get the water heater out of here. And then that's when I'm going to probably take this door off, and then I'm going to get the washer and dryer out of here, and then I'm going to close it up, because then I'm going to do the caulking around all the joints down on the ground, because if you don't caulk any of the joints, this self-leveler might go into them and actually just kind of leave like a little hole, because some of the joints are not on top of a like a floor joist or any like wood, so it goes right down to the crawl space, which actually happened over here, I believe, and I don't really know where that spot went to. I can't remember now, but I'm sweating a lot. I'm really My clothes are all sticking to me. It's not even that hot out right now. I think it's 82 and it's supposed to be 101. So it's going to get hot today, and that should actually kind of help with the drying of, or the curing of all this self-leveler. So, all right, it's about 11:40 and I got the laundry room cleared out. Eugene has escaped a couple times just because I left this door open. The last time it was cracked, and I literally came out here and walked to that bag and turned around and I saw him book it. And I'm like, what? The time before, I had left it open. I walked out and I grabbed something from this table. I came back. However, it was wide open, and then I saw him going out the door, and I was like, oh my god. And that time he went underneath my truck, and then he tried to run away from me, and thankfully I got him with no problems. But I am glad that I noticed, and I'm glad I kept an eye out for him. But yes, the laundry room is cleared out now. The only thing left in here is the furnace, which of course I can't take out of here unless I'm going to redo a lot of the HVAC, like pipes and stuff, refrigerant lines, which I'm not going to do. So as you can see, I got all of this caulked, all the joints caulked, and I'm going to let this dry for a little while. And then I'll go ahead and do the primer, which is that blue stuff, over everything, including some of the underlayment there already, just so it can seal up against it when it goes over. Because I think I'm gonna have to basically take it and feather it out from around here to about, I think right there is where I'm gonna have to feather it out. But it of course looks a whole lot bigger with nothing in it, and it looks great. I wish I got it to this point a long time ago, but it is all right. And like I mentioned when I started this clip, it's 11:40, which means I'm gonna let this dry for probably an hour, and that's gonna be past noon when I actually get any of this started. But I'm gonna probably actually go ahead and do one last thing, is get when you do this underlayment, you're supposed to do like a metal lath. It's like just metal fencing basically, and you put it on the ground and then you staple it, and it kind of helps the underlayment, like instead of cracking, and it just holds it all together. So I got to put that down. I do have enough for the rest of this room. I don't think you have to do every little square inch, but I think it's just like overall. In this area, I think I just put one down here, and in the bathroom, I think I split it. But out here, like from this little segment to probably right here, there's nothing underneath that. So I am going to go ahead and bring them in here. I'll probably have to cut them, staple them, and then I'm gonna let this dry. Oh, I'm actually gonna have to wait to do that until this dries, because I'm gonna do the primer first. So it's gonna be a while. Alright, we got the self-leveler down. It is almost dry. There is about maybe an hour or so before it should be completely dry, good enough for putting flooring down. But I am going to give it just a little bit more time, just because of how much I poured, and even though it's kind of, the temperature is pretty warm, I don't know if that would cure it faster or not. But there are some like darker spots, and it still feels kind of like wet. You can feel it. There be a little bit more moisture in it, especially compared to the old stuff, which is over here, which feels like concrete. This feels kind of like a wet, like you can kind of feel like there's a little bit in some areas. So I might wait just a little bit longer. There's actually a few things I have to get done in here before I can get to the actual flooring. And it kind of sucks because I wish I did this a couple different ways. One way would have done like the whole room before I did the bathroom, like at the same time, because then I wouldn't have to have all of these like. Basically, let me just show you. So that's the old stuff. I actually poured the bathroom and this part at the same time. And then I poured a small portion out here. And you can kind of see how it combined with this one. There's that a little bit of that blue there. And the way I did it, because it leaves bumps, right? Because it's not going to be completely flush, you know? And over here is really bad. And what I would like to do is go through here with a grinder and just kind of grind it down flush. Like this area right here. This is pretty, this one, yes, these are pretty good, but I'm still going to do it. And there's all these little tidbits here which go away pretty easily. But I would like to do that before I put any of the flooring down. And mainly because I don't want a whole lot of gaps underneath. And I did find a few of these little drain holes that popped up. There was one about right here. You can kind of see it. And then I think there was another one, but I took care of it too. Oh, it's right here. There's this one, which is actually pretty bad, but I think it'll be okay. As most of this is just to prevent, so when you step on one, it doesn't like sink more because there's a whole lot of like it's hollow underneath because the floor is unlevel. Even though this isn't completely level, like, you know, just completely straight, it's not all like up and down and, you know, like the different panels. So it's all together. Over here you can see a little bit of this metal lath in here, which is okay. It's not too bad. I could grind it down too, but I think I might leave it, especially because this is just going to be underneath the dryer, which is not that important. And there's a little bit over here by where the washer is. This is a little bit worse, which I might go ahead and do. And the reason why this happens is because even though I tried to do a really good job on stapling all this down, there's some areas where it can float up after you pour, so this is one of them. But when you do any of the grinding, it produces a ton of dust. And every time I've done it, I've tried my best to be really good at making sure all the dust goes out. And it does. But even if I had a door here, there's this little hole here, it gets into the house. And actually, when it gets on you, especially my hair, it's like really sticky. It does not feel good. And I'm not really looking forward to it, but I am going to do it because I think it's the best thing to do. It is I don't want to skip a step. I don't want to half-ass this. I want to do it right. And because it produces a lot of dust, I also have this nice, clean, and finished bathroom. I don't want to get a bunch of dust in there. So I'm going to have to shut it, and I have to put plastic all the way around it, especially at the bottom, to make sure nothing gets in. And it's going to heat up pretty bad in there because there's no AC vent. The other thing is the furnace. It's currently on, and it'll suck all that dust in and mess up the filter, which I just put the filter in not too long ago, and they're pretty expensive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off. I'm also going to cover it, which I will probably just cover the filter part, and then the rest of it is fine to get dust all over it. And then I have to put this back. I have to staple that back, and then I'm going to have to cover this hole, and then it should be okay to get the rest of this room prepped. I'm going to have a fan over here. I'm going to use my small Ryobi fan as like a kind of just move some more air this way, and then over by this door I'm going to put another fan going out the door. So it should blow all the air, all the dust outside, and get on my truck instead. Okay, so I've done a few things. First, I've taken out the OSB that was here. just so I can go in and out without going outside. I've realized that Eugene's just gonna bother me, and Major might bother me, but at least Major might listen to me to go lay down. This guy though, he's constant in and out of here. He's discovering things. A few of the areas that I don't want him to be at is anywhere with the insulation and anywhere with like the mold and some of the electrical. But there's no way to contain him out of this room unless I go all the way around. I am going to transfer most of the flooring in here, all the boxes in here, and I'm gonna open it up. And I'm gonna like sort them through like pattern, just so I don't have the same pattern next to each other. And if they're like semi close, they're gonna be like far enough away where it's not gonna be super noticeable, or if they're gonna be right next to each other, it might be one that's gonna be underneath the washer and dryer, or one that's gonna be cut in half or whatever. For cutting all of them, I will have to probably do it outside in the shop. I'm just gonna have to do it that way. I don't want all the little chunks of laminate, whatever you want to call it, vinyl, plastic basically, to be outside in my yard, like in the dirt. But I also don't want to put it inside because I'm kind of afraid of this guy and the other guy getting into it and just making a mess too. So I'm gonna have to, anytime I cut a piece, I'm gonna have to go out in the shop, which these first, I don't know, several are gonna have to be cut. But once I get into like most of this space, it'll be really quick. It's just gonna fly through. I was thinking too, I can put this back after I take all the the flooring in here. But I also am just thinking of leaving it open so I can get some of that cool air in. The house is at 74 and it's set to 71, and it's been running ever since I stopped doing like all the grinding and all the stuff in here. I think there was two big reasons. One, I was going in and out. The biggest reason was because this blue piece of drywall I had not removed, and that goes up to the attic, so all that heat was just coming in, and the furnace is just sucking that hot air instead of like the cool air from the house and trying to get that cold. So hopefully, since it's kind of all like this is all open, this cold air is coming in and bringing the temperature down in this room. And it doesn't really help that this wall is not insulated. It just has the sheathing, which is like almost like foam. But I'm gonna go ahead. I've already taken a break. I've already gone in the bathroom. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna first take all the boxes out here and then open them up and organize them, and then I'm just gonna start. I don't know how I want to start. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna start exactly. I almost want to start back here by where the washer and dryer is. Get this done to like a certain point, and then I can just basically go diagonally all the way down, which might be quicker. I don't know. Alright, I'm going to take a break. It is 4:45. Ellie and I are planning on going and watching Deadpool and Wolverine, and that starts at 9. So I have quite a bit of time, and I mean, technically I took a lot of time doing what I was doing, but I think the majority of what's going to happen now is going to go pretty fast. And I don't have to technically finish it all tonight. What I need to do is get the space where the water heater is taken care of, so I can bring the water heater in here and plug it in and turn it on so we can have hot water, because I also need to do the dishes. But let me show you just real quick. I know you saw it in the time lapse, but I'm going to show you real quick what I've gotten done. I started over there because I didn't know how to connect it to the bathroom, just because the bathroom walls are at an angle. I decided to go this way, which I'm kind of glad that I did. I figured out that little joint right there because that is what it looks like. Now, yes, this is a really big gap, and I'll explain it later when I do it, but I knew that gap was going to be there, and it is slightly too big. Now, I didn't do this side yet because I also didn't want to deal with that side of the door, but I also noticed that I got to a point where I was like, I should go this way. So I started going this way, and it got pretty quick, in my opinion, and then all I need to do now is pretty much do this piece, probably going down that way, and then I can probably just do this row, this row, this row, this row, this row, and keep going down that way instead of doing the stair step method where you just do one piece there, one piece there, one piece there, one piece there. I think it might go faster if I go all the way across, all the way across, all the way across. But the first thing I need to do is get this row up here situated. Back here is going to be a pain in the butt to deal with, but I will deal with that when I get there. Okay, I'm done for the day. I did not finish completely, and I forgot to turn on my GoPro after I took a quick break. I told myself I would do it after I cut a couple pieces out in the shop, because all you would see is me literally, like I just wanted to turn it on later. But anyways, I forgot to turn it on, so the last little bit you didn't see. But this is what it looks like. So I have where the washer and dryer is, I have where the water heater is, and majority of the floor. All I need to do is this section, this little section right here, which I'll talk about later, and then this section back here, if you can't see that, sorry, and then this section. There should be 17 pieces, I believe, that I counted that I need to use for the rest of this. I have over 20 squares left, which is good because I have 2 boxes there, they're 10 in each, and then I have like a partial box. Which means I do have enough for the room, but I don't have enough for the next bathroom, which I can't remember if I calculated that in when I grabbed these boxes, or I just said, hey, give me another 2-3 boxes for extras. I have wasted a few pieces today, but I don't think it would be enough over the whole project that would basically, like, I used pieces for the other room. I don't think that's the case. I think I just bought too much. I'm hoping when we do that bathroom over there, we still, like, they still have this flooring in Lowe's. I might go ahead and buy a couple boxes, but I don't know. It's kind of expensive. I think, oh man, I can't remember how much I paid for all of this flooring, but I want to say it was quite expensive. But I'll figure it out and put it on the screen for you. I got this at Lowe's, but I'm not completely done, like I showed you and said, but I'm done enough to where I can put the water heater in, so then it can start warming up and I can take a shower soon. I am gonna do a few other things. Actually, I don't think I'm gonna do anything else in here tonight. I think I'm just going to take a break, eat something real quick, and then start getting ready to go to the movies. I would say if we weren't going to go to the movies tonight, I think I probably would continue until I finished, but I'm actually really tired, really dirty, sweaty, and thankfully the sun is setting, and today I think was the hottest in the past. I think today was probably the hottest. Actually, no, it wasn't. I think we had 110 a couple days for like maybe a month or two ago. You can definitely feel it in the house. So I think having this room open, having that piece in the ceiling open, having the fact that that wall isn't insulated definitely did not help. But with that being said, I am going to go ahead and get the water heater in here, and I think the next time you'll see me is when the floor is completely finished. Okay, what do you guys think? I got it completely done, and I think it looks fantastic. There are a couple problem areas, and one of them is over here. And I knew this was going to happen when I did the bathroom. And I think I found a way that it could have worked out. But because of this wall is at a 45, and the flooring in here is on the layout that it is, I originally tried to have the edge of, basically I wanted to have this edge fall inside the wall right at like the 2x4, right where it ends. But either my measurements were off or the way that I had placed it down in here was a little off. So the edge is like 1.5 inches away from the wall. And the way that this piece sits, which could have probably also been fixed if I did the stagger differently, but I would have had a similar issue with this piece, I believe. So what happened here is this little lip right here goes out to there. You see that joint? I basically cut this piece off a long time ago, because when I set this in place, it wouldn't go in because of the wall here, the wall here, and the wall here. So I had to sacrifice that piece, which I did. I measured it, and after the drywall, the paint, and the texture, and the baseboard, you will maybe see, and because this is right at the corner, you will probably only see that much. That much might be the only thing you see. And I can caulk this little piece here, and the reason why this is so dark, like this line is so thick, the spacing, is because when I hooked it up over there, it wasn't exactly perfect because I cut this piece to a, like I cut it with these pieces. So if I had put this piece here and then measured it, I probably would have had a tighter fit. But this is actually totally okay in my opinion. Like I said, with the baseboard, with the drywall, the texture, and the paint, I don't think you're going to see this much. Even if you saw that much, I would be okay. Add some caulk, you'll never know. The other problem area has to do with the furnace, and actually the other two kind of deal with the furnace. Because the furnace is not perfectly square, and it's not actually perfectly like lined up with the wall, so it's not parallel with the wall, these cuts were also not going to be perfect. So what happened, I was trying to get this joint, this like space along here as tight as possible, but there's this little lip with that like flange piece and these bolts out. And I had already wasted a couple pieces trying to get, I think, this piece cut and this piece cut. And when I did this one, the gap was pretty big. So I'm thinking of doing a quarter round around the whole thing, or doing ripping a piece of baseboard down so it's not as tall, and basically making it like an L, so this space behind it is empty, so that flange and the bolts would be in that space, so it can sit up flush here and sit technically flush there, so it's not at an angle. So that's what I'm thinking of doing, because I'm not going to leave it like this, and I'm not going to caulk it because that is a huge gap. Now granted, I have 2 boxes of this flooring left, and I could have spared another piece, and maybe I will redo this. Because the other problem area is this right back here. You see that gap right there, that little black line? They're not supposed to be that prominent. And I think what happened is because the flooring is not perfectly like straight and parallel with the wall, and the way that I kind of had to wrap this around, it wasn't going to connect perfectly. But I think I have a way to fix that too. If I take off this piece and this piece and this piece, I can actually set it in there, pull it down, and then the gap would technically be along this side, which you won't be able to see. I'll probably end up doing that because I think it might make it look better, and I could actually recut that last piece too, but I would also have to open a new box. So we will see. I am okay with a lot. Like, I'm okay with it looking like that. I'm okay with that gap back there. That gap is probably one of the easier things to fix. The piece around here could also be kind of easy, but I might just be okay with it, honestly. Regardless, I'm going to put trim around this. I'm going to have to do trim because I think it'll look a lot better. So I can leave that big gap around the furnace. That's not a problem. Those were my like 3 problem areas. Other than that, all of it looks good. When I did the water heater, I had such a hard time with this, which actually made my timeline like I don't have as much time as I did, even though I didn't have a lot of time. Because this water supply line, I went through, when I first got this water heater and I installed it, I had lines that looked like this. And there was one that I had that leaked really bad. And it leaked around this red piece right here. And for some reason I was like, I don't know what's going on with this. What I do know is I need to get it replaced. And so I got it replaced. And I believe I got it replaced, and then I got a shorter piece for this one. And they were fine. They both worked. And then when I took it off and moved it out of this room to do the self-leveler and the flooring and put it back on, it leaked. And I was like, oh, fantastic. So I went to Home Depot to get a replacement. And what do you know, that replacement also leaked. I was like, great. So I went back to Home Depot, returned both of those because they both leaked. I got my money back. And then I got these, which the red comes with the blue one, and they're both, I think, 24 inches long. I don't really need to be 24 inches long, but I made it work. And when I first put it on, I could tell it was going to leak again. And I was like, I don't know what the problem is here, but I actually got it to not leak. I legit almost told myself, I'm done. I'm not going to work on it this week. I'm done with this. But I powered through, and I got it working. And we have hot water, which I have taken a shower, so that's nice. But I'm also going to take a shower today. I'm already sweating bullets in here. But doing all of this, I had gotten it kind of messy on the floor, which left quite a bit of like things that were sticking to the floor, and mopping wouldn't bring it up, and it almost looked stained. But earlier I came in here with like a scrub brush, and I scrubbed it all out, and actually it's clean. I mean, you can look at it. You can't, like, there might be a couple spots left, but it looks clean still. So with all that being said, what is left is I have to cover this nice looking floor, because when we do the drywall and insulation and the paint and the texture, I don't want to get any of that on this floor. That was the whole reason why I put this floor in, is because I wanted to make it easier for myself when it comes to doing the floor if the drywall isn't installed, which I could have actually done the self-leveler, then the insulation, then the flooring, and then the drywall, but I'm going to do the insulation and the drywall back to back. It's just easier for me. But now I also have a different problem when it comes to this door. I took this door off, and I had decided to put it back on because we knocked down the wall in the dining room. That wall I kind of regret knocking down because it would be a nice separation from the rest of the house, including the animals, especially the animals. Our dog and our cat like to be kind of nuisances, and they like to be in the space with us. Eugene, actually, our cat, was in here while I was doing the flooring. He was actually a lot of the time up on the windowsill or by the door over here wanting to be let out, because that's where he's escaped a few times. But what I was saying is the door that I had in here as temporary, I basically cut the door jamb and literally just put the door in with some extra 2x4s, and it was all temporary. I could put it back. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the thing is, I don't have that door anymore because I threw it away yesterday. Actually, I threw it all away. So now the only other option for this door is to put the new one in. And I'm not really ready to put the new one in yet because I have to do a little bit of work with it, and I kind of would like to do the drywall before I do the door. But doing the drywall when this door is completely closed off like this is a little bit more difficult because the drywall is on the opposite side of this wall. And I either would have to take it all the way out to the shop, cut it, bring it back in, or take them all out to the shop and cut them all out there and then bring it in this way. I might do that because cutting it all in this room would would be really messy, and I don't want either of the animals to be around it, and I don't want to have to clean it up right after I cut it. I also can't prevent them from going in that space because, like I said, we don't have a wall, and if I build a faux wall, it's just a waste of my time, and I also think if I do plastic, it's not going to keep them out. So I'm going to add a little bit more work and take all the drywall out to the shop, or I can just do one by one, and even just take it up, bring it up, and then bring it in here if I don't have to cut it at all, which I might not for some areas. But with all that being said, the next step is the ram board, which will protect the flooring from paint, from spills, from cuts, from walking, from stains. It'll protect it, because there are some areas in the bathroom over here that I did not have the ram board installed for a long time, which ruined the floor. So learn from your mistakes, which I did, including this freaking door, which I should have kept. I also want to quickly mention, there was something I forgot to say earlier. A long time ago, we used to have Eugene's litter box up against this wall on the other side, like in the kitchen area. And he started to pee outside the box, and it would go to the baseboard and soak up in the baseboard because the baseboard was just primed and it wasn't painted. And of course it wasn't like caulked around, so it went underneath the baseboard. And when I'm over here by the water heater, especially down low, you can kind of smell cat pee. That pee, when he peed outside the box multiple times over here, it soaked into the bottom plate and some of the drywall. And I think the only way to kind of get that fixed, there's two options, is to replace the 2x4s here. They're like down on the bottom plate, which is going to be impossible unless I take the drywall out and it would not be the option I would want to do. The other option is to paint it. And painting it, there is a primer that is like an odor, it covers odors. Paint kind of does it, I think, already, but there is a kills odor primer, I believe. And I might go ahead and put that on almost the whole section here, because it goes actually from here all the way to, I think, about here. And I'll just literally just paint it all over there. And I have to do that before I do the drywall and the insulation in this wall, which I'm not going to insulate this wall until later, until I do the opposite side, because the opposite side has like panels of like I can't remember what they're called, but they're just wall panels. This drywall on the other side has mold on it, so I'm going to replace all that drywall and I'm going to insulate when I do that side. But I can't paint on this side if this is covered in drywall, so I have to do that before I do the drywall on this wall. And I figured out that I probably won't be able to I won't be able to finish this room before Ellie gets back. In addition to doing the flooring, which I should have done a long time ago, I would have also recognized the problem with the ceiling here, with the wiring. I would have recognized that a long time ago and actually got that done, and I would have actually got this room done this week. But time just got away from me, and that's all my fault. But I can't go back in time, so I have to deal with the consequences of that and just say it's not going to be done this week. But I can get pretty darn close. I can get this whole wall insulated and put drywall on it, drywall all of this over to the washer and dryer, and I can also insulate and drywall this portion up until after this pipe. After that, I just have to wait for all of this, which technically I can insulate this wall and this wall, and it won't be an issue. So, I might go ahead and do that this week, and I will probably not need to disconnect the water, but when I do, if I do end up doing that, if I end up disconnecting water, I have an idea that allows me to have water throughout the week, just not hot water. But that'll be for the next video, because that's when I deal with that. So I just wanted to quickly mention about Eugene's pee smell coming from that wall, which is something I also need to do. So it's just adding on, adding on, and adding on. Sadly, I won't get this done this week. Okay, so this is it. I finished all of the RAM board. Everything is protected. The only place that is not is actually underneath the water heater. Back here you can tell that there's some open. Underneath of it is also exposed. This is full, and that is why I did not put anything under, but I do have a sheet right here ready to go when I do end up moving it. What are the next steps? Well, I think today I'm going to try to install all of the insulation in this wall and probably some in this wall. And then I think I might try to get the drywall installed on this wall. I can do at least a few walls here by myself with no help. It's not going to be an issue. Other than that, this video is going to be done. There's probably a lot to it, a lot of clips I have to edit, so I'm going to try to get that done as well. It is still getting hot and staying pretty warm these last few days. It looks like it's going to start cooling down though. Today is going to be a high of 99, tomorrow 96, next day 95, 95, 92, 93, 92, 94, 90, 88. And hopefully it just keeps going down because I am tired of this 90 degree plus 100 degree weather. It's hard to work in a space that doesn't have AC coming out of the, there's no vent in here. And it's also hard to work going in and out of the door and letting all that hot air in. And it's been really, really humid. So you just the air kind of feels heavy and thick. So when you breathe, it's just like harder to breathe. And with the smoke, it stinks. And also it's just really bad air quality. So it's not super great. But with that being said, I am going to be done with this video. So that'll be it for today's video. If you liked it, be sure to smack the like button as hard as you can. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Help me a lot. And turn on post notifications. And I'll see you guys all next time.